The United States, Israel, and Iran are trading blows. Global stock markets are cratering, and the threat of a wider Middle Eastern war has sent energy prices into a volatile spiral. In the middle of this chaos, a surprising mediator has volunteered to step in. Islamabad has officially offered to act as the primary peace broker between Washington and Tehran. This offer comes from a nation with a history of fierce anti-Western rhetoric. Pakistan maintains no diplomatic ties with Israel and does not even recognize it as a state. Yet, they were the very first nation to join a US-led peace board for the region. Domestically, the country is struggling through a severe economic drought. Basic commodities like cooking gas are in short supply, and their national sports leagues face embarrassing logistical failures due to a lack of basic funding. This is an era of extreme instability for the country's leadership. Pakistan's sudden interest in global harmony is a matter of pure necessity. They're caught in a geopolitical vice, where a successful peace deal represents their last chance to avoid a total systemic collapse. The first wall closing in on Pakistan is the threat of military mutiny. During a recent Ramadan iftar party, Army Chief Asim Munir sat down with a prominent Shia cleric to discuss the escalating tensions abroad. Munir bluntly stated that the overseas conflict should not impact Pakistan, telling those who sympathize with Iran to simply pack up and leave the country. These remarks were immediately leaked to the media, sparking fierce public backlash. This reaction creates an immediate crisis for the military's chain of command. An estimated 10 to 15% of the Pakistani armed forces are Shia Muslims, many of whom hold deep religious and cultural ties to Iran's leadership. Openly supporting a US and Israeli campaign against a Shia-majority neighbor risks fracturing the military from within. Munir has effectively tied the religious identity of his soldiers to their national loyalty, a move that could break the army's cohesion. The second wall is the absolute paralysis of the domestic economy. The country is currently suffocating under a massive nationwide energy crisis. These mandates serve a singular purpose: preserving the country's dwindling fuel reserves by forcing citizens off the road and back into COVID-era work-from-home cycles. If the conflict in the Middle East expands, global oil prices will surge beyond Pakistan's ability to pay. For a nation already rationing fuel just to keep office workers at home, a sudden spike in energy costs would bankrupt their logistics network and destroy their remaining economy. The third and most dangerous wall is a defense pact bound by nuclear history. Decades ago, Saudi Arabia provided the critical funding that allowed Pakistan to develop its nuclear weapons program. This animated diagram shows how that financial backing became a formal agreement signed last year. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan are now legally bound. An attack on Saudi soil is treated as a direct attack on Pakistan itself. Now consider the consequences of Saudi Arabia entering the fight alongside the US. If Iran strikes Saudi targets in retaliation, the treaty acts as an instant tripwire. It creates a legal obligation for Pakistan to retaliate against Iran. Despite Tehran currently granting Pakistan safe passage through shipping lanes, this pact would force Islamabad into a war they cannot win. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has reportedly advised the US to maintain the pressure. If the Saudis choose to engage directly, they will expect their nuclear-armed partner to fulfill their contractual obligations. Facing a mutiny from its own soldiers, the bankruptcy of its energy sector, and a forced entry into a suicidal war, Islamabad has reached a breaking point. For the Pakistani leadership, securing a ceasefire has become a mandatory survival strategy. While Islamabad begs for a diplomatic off-ramp, Donald Trump's administration is signaling a continued commitment to escalation. Despite public statements about a 5-day pause for negotiations, the physical reality on the ground is different. American ground troops and heavy convoys are actively mobilizing and pushing deeper into the Middle East. Analysts suspect the US is preparing a decisive move on Karg Island. Capturing this Iranian energy hub would allow the US to choke off Tehran's resources and forcefully open the Strait of Hormuz. This aggressive shift coincides with a growing domestic crisis for the Trump administration. Some observers suggest the rapid escalation of a foreign war is a strategic attempt to bury the recent release of the Epstein files under a narrative of military action. The stakes are heavily asymmetrical. For the United States, launching airstrikes and deploying troops can serve as a political tool or a domestic distraction with limited risk to the homeland. For Pakistan, a single miscalculation leads to immediate systemic destruction. The danger of modern conflict extends far beyond the primary combatants. It moves through the economic and military links that pull smaller nations into the crossfire, turning a localized dispute into a forced regional collapse.